Hi 7th graders, this is Mrs. Wiedemeyer in the library, and I want to show you how to search for images using Google Images. And remember that when we're looking for images, we want to make sure that we find ones that are copyright free or ones that we can use legally without stealing, basically, from the owner who owns that image. So we're going to be using Google Images and typing for some of your disaster topics. So I'm going to start with the San Francisco earthquake and see what we get for images. You can see we get a lot of good ones. There's a lot of black and white ones here. I wasn't specific about which year, and if you hopefully know, San Francisco has experienced a lot of earthquakes, so we're going to kind of have to look through and see which one we're looking for our earthquake. If we look at, let's start here with this second one. If we click on it, we see our image, and you can see here at the very bottom of this black box that says images may be subject to copyright. So Google is not filtering this in any way for us. It's not saying, oh sure, you can totally use this because there's no restrictions on it. These are just images that Google is taking off the internet without anyone's permission, and you don't have permission to necessarily use them either until you find that you have permission. So we need to do some searching to make sure that we know that this is an image that we can use in our projects. So here's the image. We want to visit the page. We want to see, where does this come from? It comes from Wikipedia. How exciting. Okay, so once we're on Wikipedia, we can click on any of these pictures that are here. This is the one that I originally found. And it'll blow up that picture for us. It'll give us some information here. Those of you who know what public domain means, you know that we already have a good sign that this is public domain. But we're going to click on more details, the big blue button, and it takes us to a web page that's only for that picture. And we have this picture and all this information about this picture, but what we really care about is this information that talks about copyright. The C, the circle around it is copyright. It says that this work is in the public domain. That means that we do have a right to use it. It is not under anyone's ownership right now. It's for the public to use. It looks like it's even in the National Archives and Records, so this is something that we could use without the owner being upset with us. We wouldn't be stealing. So we can kind of go back and see some of the other pictures too here from Wikipedia. If we click on more details and look for that licensing information here, this is also in the public domain, so we are free to use these. So that's a really good sign. So let's go back to Google Images and see what else we can find here. We have this color one that's kind of interesting in the middle of all these black and white ones. If we click on this color one, this is the Loma Prieta earthquake, which is the 1989 earthquake. So this is a different year. So we still have this images may be subject to copyright note, and we're going to visit the page to see what information we can learn about that picture. It says it's coming from the New York Daily News. And if I click around this picture, in this picture, near this picture, I am seeing that it is owned by the New York Daily News. Looks like this picture has some credit to it, but there's nothing on here that tells me I can use it. And so in this case, I would say no, we are not going to use these pictures because they do not say anything about me having the right to use them. Another way I can show you how that looks is if you click up here in the search bar, there's a place that says search tools, and if you change search tools, underneath it says usage rights, and that drop down has some options, and this is whether or not I can use a picture. So if I want to use a picture for non-commercial reuse, which would be like school or something that I'm not trying to sell anything, I'm not trying to make any money off of it, that would be non-commercial. Labeled for non-commercial reuse, if I click that, you can see that my Wikipedia picture is still there, but my Loma Prieta picture is gone. And that's because I don't have the right to use it. It is not for my reuse. And so it's a good choice that I made to not copy and paste that picture because it's not legal. It would have been stealing for me to use that picture. Let's try a different disaster. Let's try the Chicago fire. Oh, how exciting. So we have all sorts of exciting things here that have nothing to do with the Chicago fire. I'm still in here as labeled for non-commercial reuse so that we know that we can use any of these. Hopefully, if I had gone back to not filtered, I'd have the TV show. How exciting. So we want to stay here with non-commercial reuse and be looking at using these. But you can see I'm not specific enough, so I'm going to type the year here to see if I can get a little bit better, which is good. So we have a few more options here with what we're finding as far as the Chicago fire. Now, if I find one, which I'm going to use this one here, and I want to visit this page to see what it is for. This is Flickr, which is a great website to be using on its own, not through Google search, but just on its own, to look for images. This will tell you whether or not you can use it. It says right here, some rights reserved. That means that there are some copyright issues with this picture. And so it says, you must give appropriate credit. You must tell where you got this from. You may use this for non-commercial but not for commercial purposes, and you must have it as the same license so that you can share it and you can adapt it. So we want to make sure we read all of these picture informations to know what can we do with this. We can share it and use it, but we have to make sure we tell where we got it from, is what this one says. So that information is on the image, but you can't use it here. It doesn't tell you that here. All it says is that it's subject to copyright. You need to dig deeper by visiting the page and getting the information there. Let's try one more disaster, and we'll do a little Titanic here. Alright, we're still under labeled for non-commercial reuse, which is going to help us narrow down to make sure we're using things that can be reused. If we were not filtering, you can see we have other images. We can't necessarily use all these, so we need to narrow it down to ones that we are probably able to use. Now the one thing I want you to notice when you're using Google search for images is that almost all of these are from Wikipedia, and you can see that here on the bottom. Wikipedia, 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 Wikipedia. All of these are from Wikipedia. So instead of really getting like good National Archives, good like government sites that show us some awesome pictures and things that really would help us, we're getting Wikipedia, which is fine for these because I mean these are pictures and they look like they're real and they're labeled for use, so we can use them, which is nice. But it's not giving us a lot of options. Like we don't have a lot of we only get Wikipedia. So that's why Google might not be the best place to start, because we're not getting a good variety here. The better place to be when you're looking for images is the library website under research and online research tools. We have copyright-free image websites, and these are going to have a lot more of the government websites, the archive websites, library websites, museum websites, where you're going to get a lot more variety than just Wikipedia, because that's all Google is really offering, because it doesn't have anywhere else to search. So make sure you're really thinking about how you're searching when you're looking for images online, and be really careful when you're using Google image search.